that emotion that you're feeling is coming from a story, not going to the gym, it's coming from a story.
So our topic today is all about having a coaching mindset in life, meaning how do we use our coaching mindset in everyday life when facing challenges, opportunities, and maybe just an emotional moment or a reactive moment, and you want to use your mindset to help you through it. We'll really unpack the topic and engage with you, and love for you to also share your views and opinions as we go along. I'll introduce you to my panel. One of my first panelists I'd love for you to meet is Vanessa. Vanessa, would you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, Cindy. So my name is Vanessa Ramondo. I am a Coacharya alumni, and I am a coach and consultant. And with my clients, I help them to grow their business, expand their business, and help them work through change, which, as we all know, in this past year and a half has been rapid and multifaceted. And so I've in going through the programs at Coacharya, I've found it to be extremely helpful in applying to all areas of life, and especially business, and especially as businesses go through inevitable change. And so I think that applying a coaching mindset in life is appropriate to everyone. And again, in all facets of life, not just in business, but also in regular, normal human interaction day to day.
Thank you, Vanessa. Anshu?
Hi, everyone. I'm Anshu Bhargav. For my day job, I am an HR professional, and then the other hats that I wear. I'm a diversity and inclusion enthusiast. I am also author of a book by the name of Woman You Rock. So you can understand gender diversity, all causes related to women are really close to me. And some of the other interest areas which brought me into Coacharya is coaching. That's been something which has been there as part of my professional life. And that's one of the powerful things that I felt I wanted to dig deeper into. And that's how this journey with Coacharya is ongoing. And I'm very happy to share my thoughts here and be part of this panel today. I think the topic that we have today is phenomenal because the more you know about coaching, the more you understand how it integrates into life. So looking forward to talking more about this today. Thank you.
Thanks, Anshu. Deva?
Coaching mindset. So do you want me to delve right into the topic that I want to talk about, or you want me to give a little introduction?
No, I want you to introduce yourself.
Sorry, I was having a problem with my connection.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Hi all, I'm Devishmita Deva from India, Bangalore. So coaching, I've been a coach now for some time. Right now I'm with Coacharya. Coaching mindset is something that I'm evolving into, and I find that it's helping me in all different facets of my life, not just coaching, but my everyday life as I conduct myself, the different facets. So yeah, today I think we are here to discuss all that. It should be fun and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Deva. So, participants, I have a question for you. Participants is such a long name. Yeah, I have a question. And while the panel and I are going to discuss this, may I invite you to share your views or your opinions onto the chat box? What is a coaching mindset for you? No right and wrong answers. Feel free to share anything you want. What for you is a coaching mindset? Yep. And to my panelists, well, what do you think? What for you is a coaching mindset?
Cindy, my experience has been that when you come together with your whole self in your everyday life is a coaching mindset. It doesn't have to mean that I have a coachee whom I'm coaching or I'm in a hot seat coaching someone. It will help us in every facets of our life. See, in an average, every person goes through different emotional layers. We are frustrated, we are overwhelmed with work, we are tired, we are angry. I'm not counting the happy ones right now. So what do we do? Do we carry a coach behind our back always? No, that is not possible. Would have been wonderful. So what I do, Cindy, is that I like to, like, if I'm in a not nice emotional state of mind, I like to create a small little bit of distance between me and my emotions. Without, for a couple of seconds, I like to keep the problem aside and address the emotion. Because I'll not be able to address the problem if I don't address the emotion attached to it. And if it's an unproductive emotion like anger or frustration or being overwhelmed, it's not going to help me find a solution to whatever the reason is. So once I'm able to do that effectively, just I tell myself, okay, we'll deal with the problem. But Deva, tell me, what are you feeling now? There are these coaching sets of question answers through which we address a situation. I do it to myself. Deva, what are you feeling now? I'm frustrated. Okay. Do you want to talk about your frustration or do you want to solve your frustration? Be kind to yourself. Be forgiving and be present. If you're too frustrated, you will not be able to say that I want to go forward, and it's okay. Say, I want to be frustrated. Okay. I want to talk about it. Fine. 5 minutes. Let's talk about it. I find that in every aspect of life, in every dealing in life, either at workplace or the home front, with kids, with friends, everywhere, this mindset helps.
Absolutely.
I think that can, yeah, which I call as the coaching mindset.
Absolutely, Deva. You touched on many aspects that you're pulling in and what you're calling what we call a coaching mindset. To our participants, anything else in this mindset? Or what for you is simply mindset? What does mindset mean for you? If you leave out coaching, what does mindset mean? Or what does it include? Yeah, panelists? What do you think?
It includes the making of the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to add to that, it's all about what do I think, or in this moment, what am I thinking? And one aspect is in the current or in the present moment, in the here and now. And then there is that entire journey that we've had through life. So everything which is lying below the surface in terms of the values, in terms of the beliefs, in all of those things that maybe we were taught as a child. Because most often we would have those voices in the head. It could be maybe of our parents, of our teachers, which are always telling us, this is what you should do, this is what you should not do, this is what makes you a good person. So I think all of that together creates a mindset. And that's how we live our life.
So it seems like some things here are influences in a way that creates a particular way of thinking, being, feeling around different aspects that show up in life. And I'm reading, Vanessa, go ahead and share. I get a sense you want to say something.
Oh, I was just going to say that I agree with both Deva and Anshu that I
Yeah.
think those pictures were both beautiful and completely agree. And I would add to it that in addition to the present and the past, it's also about how we will move forward.
Yeah.
And maybe how we have had our minds set in the past or even in the present may not be how we will choose to move forward. And so then it's applying that coach's mindset to how it is that we want to then proceed. You know, because again, you know, I think there's even a book that says what got us here may not get you there, may not be what gets you there. And I think that that is always applicable because, you know, we're constantly in flux, we're always moving forward. And it's a beautiful question to always have in our minds.
Absolutely. I'm just going to read out some of the answers that our participants typed in. You know, Vanessa said it's the system of thought that we operate from. And we got Bhavan that said it's about our thoughts and thought processes. And Kareen who said the mindset is not wearing a mask, but being fully convinced and authentic. And we got Winston saying to be present and beautiful comments on being authentic from many, living it's in the now, staying centered, being fully present. And Sarika says the mindset is a set of values, of beliefs and attitudes of own self. Thank you all for your comments. And so we've explored a bit about, you know, what is this mindset and this coaching mindset, and absolutely spot on that our mindset is created and developed by the processes of life in our systemic interaction, because we're mostly social beings. So, you know, the systems around us and the people in the systems make a huge impact on who we are and how we show up with all the different filters and whatever that's coming our way. So I have another question, and panelists, feel free to engage, and participants, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Why is mindset essential to success? I know I'm asking a why question, but I'd like to know your answer. Why is mindset essential to successes?
Yeah. See, success, when you talk of success, every endeavor we have or every goal we have requires a different mindset. When we are talking of success, we essentially have a goal in our head. Do I want to be a business person? Do I want to be a philanthropist? Do I want to be a mountaineer? Do I want to work for the well-being of the children and the women and poor? Each one of them have a different mindset. It's essential to bring out the mindset of that particular endeavor so that whatever the society, whatever we grew up with, we can systematically alienate ourselves. 100% will not be possible, but that is what we are trying to do, or that is what the endeavor is. Like today, what we are talking about is a coaching mindset. What do we mean by, or what is the focus on a coaching mindset? The coaching mindset lays down certain guidelines of being curious, of being non-judgmental, of being there for the client. This definition allows us to consciously alienate ourselves from our own conditioning. of whatever we have. When we sit in the chair, we are looking at a client, we are coaching the client. We need to have that coaching mindset. If we are trying to climb Mount Everest, we need a different kind of a mindset.
So let's take it down to life experiences. Let's take it down to everyday experiences. Our current environment, as seen us all manage many challenges on an everyday basis. Too many people working from home suddenly, or managing children, managing work, managing, for some people, loneliness, managing not socializing, managing many challenges. Some completely controlled by work environments, some by a combination of work and life, and some just life. But there's some things here that make successful people stand out from others. What do you think that is? And successful could be in overcoming a task, in recovering from a particular setback or something that's holding you back. What do you think helps people become more successful or move to success? What do you think that is? Yeah, courage? What else?
Mindset.
Yeah, clarity, winning mindset. Yeah, resilience.
I think it's our internal world, which in a way creates our outer world. So a lot of our thoughts are what get converted into action. And that's what I was reading from some of the comments as well. That whatever we are thinking, that becomes the first step. And then we start taking action after action to result in a successful end result. At the same time, there are always interferences, which are coming maybe from outside, like an external pandemic situation, or maybe those internal interferences, like in form of some limiting beliefs, which tell us maybe, oh, you can't do it, you will fail, you may not be able to get what you're wanting to get. So all of those, if we have a mindset which is taking us forward, much rather than allowing those some of those limiting beliefs to stop us or external situations to govern our actions, I think that's where it helps to, just center yourself, maybe just be present to all of those voices inside your head, and then take a step forward, which takes you onto the path of success.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What comes to mind for me, Cindy, is the word intent and setting intent. And I think that encompasses what you, Anshu, had just said and what you mentioned also, Deva, because if you are approaching your goals, your endeavors with an intent, and rather than having a plan that cannot fail or that is planned out to the smallest detail, if you are focusing instead on that mindset, it almost inevitably puts you in that coach's mindset where you are agile. You're somebody, Dawn said, adaptable. You're able to work with whatever experiences come your way, because you're not in a set plan. You're just going with whatever is coming towards you.
Absolutely. To our participants, I noticed some of you are sending messages to hosts and panelists. Please send to everyone. Choose everyone as your option so that everyone can see your messages. If you're choosing host and panelists, it's only us that can see it, us panelists. Yeah? And some of you are saying some really lovely things here on the chat, mindset is around willing to go the extra mile and take the risk, willing to be vulnerable, willing to make mistakes, reflect on it and learn, willing to learn from it. So let's move on to ways that we can challenge our mindset. When little things show up that get in our way, that seems to hold us back, and that perhaps over time we begin to develop some kind of a habit or pattern of thinking around it that continues holding us back. You know, that classic example of I want to go to gym 3 times a week, and 6 months later we haven't established a habit around that, and then we wonder why. And we bring the same topic for coaching. Let us talk about ways to change our mindset. And I'll break it down into smaller pieces so we can all engage with it a little bit at a time, little piece at a time. And let's talk about the first piece. How can we challenge our limiting beliefs? When our beliefs get in the way of our mindset or helping us have this positive, or if you want to call it growth mindset, how do we challenge those limiting beliefs? What do you think? Participants, go for it. And to our panelists.
Cindy, it really boils down to the stories we tell ourselves. You are at point A and you want to move to point B. If you cannot move in between, whatever story you are telling yourself are nothing but huge boulders that's blocking you. So again, the limiting beliefs that you are talking about, every time you tell your story, you're telling a story to yourself, challenge that. I want to go to the gym tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock, but that is a story you're telling yourself. I want to do this, but you're telling yourself a story. So this story, wherever they comes from our background, from the way we were brought up, from the situations we are in, if we start addressing those stories, if we start challenging them, to every but ask a why, I think that can be the first step towards changing that mindset.
Absolute, facing it head on, right? Yeah. Facing
Absolutely.
the story you tell yourself head on instead of consistently using the same language to say the same things every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would add to that, Deva, and group panelists and participants, that it's important to also recognize that it is just a story that you are telling yourself. You know, it's oftentimes that first step of realizing that that emotion that you're feeling is coming from a story, not going to the gym, is coming from a story that does need to be challenged. And it happens in, what's tricky about that is it happens in the microseconds. You experience something and you have an emotion, and it almost seems like it's instantaneous. But if you are able to give yourself a little bit of breathing room in between the experience and the emotion, you'll see that there's a story in between that you are telling yourself. And Deva, to your point, that is the point that you need to question and challenge and ask yourself whether it's true. Is it true what I'm telling myself?
That's beautiful, right? Is it true? And how is it serving me? Sometimes we assume the value is a part of us. It may be to a large extent, but we can examine it, meaning reflect on it, and then question ourselves, how is this value serving me? And maybe there's a part of the value or the belief that we want to change, and then set about small actions or a series of establishing something different, like a different pattern or a different value or a different belief that will serve us more than the current one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you there, Cindy. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it's taking small steps, which starts with, as the panelists said, firstly, just becoming aware of it. And then perhaps at times, or maybe necessary, to have a conversation with a colleague, a friend, a coach, somebody else that will help you create more awareness and take some learnings, actions towards something else that will serve you better.
This just reminds me of, one of the personal examples that I had of a limiting belief.
Yeah.
So it's just that, and maybe that belief maybe served me at a certain point in time, which was all about, I want to do things perfectly and I want to do things one at a time. Especially given this current scenario where, you're working from home, there's work going on, there's home life going on and everything all together, multiple balls in the air all the time. I had to question that belief and, just say that, can I do it all rather than saying that I will do it one step at a time or one thing at a time. And then I started realizing that maybe at one point in time, it helped me to be perfect at something and do just one thing. But when you have everything going on and you need to be doing it all together, then that's where you have to maybe question that belief that you've had till now. And then maybe put a new belief that maybe I can do things together. Maybe I can do them well enough. And start telling yourself through affirmations that, yes, I can do it all. I can do multiple things at a time. And just see the change which comes. And suddenly you find yourself handling multiple things and managing well enough. And that's like, wow, an aha moment. So I think that would be one way.
You can hear the energy in your voice, Anshu.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she lighted up.
Yeah.
Yeah, here I totally agree. I mean, targeting this perfectionist, I find that there is no end to it. I mean, how do you define perfect? Something which is perfect for me is not perfect for you. There you addressing that solved a lot of problem for me, especially during this pandemic time. It's okay. It's got done. The job got done. It's okay. Move on to the next.
So here's the second point we can pick up, right, in this big picture of adopting or living with a coaching mindset. How do we shift our perspective? If there's something in our way, like core competency 2.4 or 3.4, how do we shift our perspective? Participants, you've gone quiet. How do we shift our perspective? Yeah? Keep challenging ourselves. Yeah? Please, Dave, can you type to everyone so we can all see your messages? Yeah? Awareness, meditation, wanting to shift. Yeah, that's good, right? Wanting to shift.
Wanting to shift, yes.
Panelists, what do you think? How can we shift? Sometimes all learning around changing our mindset can become quite big for us, right? Like if somebody told you, you've got to change your mindset, it feels quite overwhelming, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Very overwhelming. And shifting will happen by consciously, or rather taking into consciousness certain actions or certain beliefs that we have. Does this belief serve me? Is one question we need to ask. Is this productive? Is one question we need to ask. Also, I like to think about it when I can, from a neutral point, observe the kids of this new generation, the millennials. If I'm not busy pointing my fingers and, they're all wrong, then you find that when you are actually in that open mindset, in the open mode, when they're doing things, when they conducting themselves, when they talk, the things they say is very different from what we used to do. They're one step ahead. Listen to them. That will bring about not a shift, but that will bring about an openness where you can question yourself, look, reflect. I think that will be the first step. And yes, consciousness. I think consciousness, the acceptance that, okay, something needs to shift will be the very first step.
Small steps, absolutely.
I agree with you, Deva. I think that the consciousness is definitely the first step, or one of the first steps. And for me, I think the most powerful thing that has helped me to start to shift, right? Because I think we're all in constant state of shifting. It never ends. Was this notion of unconditional positive regard, and to start with myself and to view it with myself. And though, this consciousness of wanting to make shifts, it's not about fixing. It's the word fixing is not the point, or it's not the goal. And it's more about, for me anyway, was connecting to what I saw as the dichotomy of light and shadow, and that the shadow is not something to be fixed, and it is just part of what makes me me, and the unique me, and the beautiful me. And so this notion of unconditional regard was super powerful, very powerful for me, as a first step.
Absolutely. Love what you're saying about the light and dark and light and shadow work, and also the either or thinking. It's not one or the other. Polaroid thinking. It's not one or the other. There are shades in between. And it's easier to work with those shades by picking up some small thing you can start changing and start moving towards that. And you'll find that there are more and more opportunities that begin to grow in a positive way than a previous negative mindset. Also, we all know this, right, as coaches, most of us know this. Even in obstacles, there are opportunities.
That's one of my personal mantras, Cindy. So
yeah, I know.
Every challenge has an opportunity in it. So
absolutely,
it's just the way we see it. So yes.
It's funny, Thomas Edison said, I don't see it as failing 42 times or 48 times. I just know 42 ways not to make a light bulb.
Absolutely. Wonderful. And if you look at a child and they have the curiosity mindset of a child, meaning just keep trying it and just keep trying it until you get it right. Like you see a child playing with one of those toys where you put those shapes in. I mean, they don't ever give up, right? They will just constantly keep doing the same thing until they get it right. There's nothing getting in their way. They're just going to get it. Sorry, you were saying.
And enjoy doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about changing our self-talk. How do we change our self-talk to adopt more and more a coaching mindset? In life, how do we change our self-talk? And of course, also self-talk would include self-regulation, self-awareness, self-managing, self-sustaining. We've started a new habit to keep it sustaining, self-sustaining, to go on working on it until you get that goal achieved for yourself, or that thing achieved. Self-accountability. So what's in your self-talk that you would like to change? Coaches, is there anything in your or participants, what is in your self-talk that you would like to change?
Cindy, there is also a research. I thought it was only me, but I'm relieved to know it's not just me. There's a research that says that 80% of the time when we are talking to ourselves in our head, it's all negative thoughts. We talk negative, we use negative words. 10 or 15% of the time, the remaining time, we do some productive work like planning and working. And rarely 0.5% or 1% of the time where we do any positive or healing talk to ourselves. So it will be a good thing to do first if we, reduce that bulk, first of all. That entire bulk of negative thoughts and vocabulary that we are using. Sometimes we use very loose vocabulary, like we say, I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. There are also those chosen abuses which we do in our minds. If you ask me, they will, or you ask someone, they'll say it means nothing. It doesn't mean anything, but it does, because the brain rewires ourselves that way, the mind that way. So the self-talk, it's like if you can write down in a board somewhere the vocabulary or the choice of words that we will use, even when we are talking in our mind, even when we are addressing a negative situation in our mind. The vocabulary can be of a coaching mindset where we are progressive, because a regressive or a negative thought does not serve us, does not serve anyone. We probably just add up to a few more wrinkles. That's it.
Yeah, and we don't want that, right?
Definitely not.
So that's a lovely point. And Anshu, I'm sure you and Vanessa want to contribute to it, that our language does indeed, or the words we use, impacts our mindset.
Big time.
Absolutely. It's like every moment we are creating a mindset. And when we are creating a mindset, in a way, we are creating a future, because that's how we're going to be thinking in the future. So, taking care of our own self, having compassion towards our own self, and having small routines. I mean, it could be around having a meditation practice or some relaxation where we are allowing our mind to be at rest. Like what Deva was talking about, that maximum time we are having negative thoughts running through our head. This will not work out. This will fail. What will this person say about me? Putting a pause button there and just allowing ourselves to cool down. Because when we are looking at, being present for someone else, the first step to it is being present for yourself, being okay yourself, being empty as a vessel before we can, take in anything from anyone. So it's very important to be able to, on a day-to-day basis, keep emptying ourselves and bringing in new thoughts. So that could be, for me, it's reading. Reading, allows me to get in something which is a new thought, a new perspective. It's always as if, the written word is something which holds a lot of meaning for me. So just reading some new books, it creates a new thought that, okay, yeah, this is one way of looking at it. I never thought about this earlier. So it's just one way of, trying to get in something new and making that a part of my self-talk. So whether it's the self-development range of books or self-healing, those are some things which really help.
Absolutely. Vanessa, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, absolutely. Anshu, you reminded me of something that's been kicking around in my head for some time now, a couple of months. And it's the idea of creating these rituals in our life, in our lives, in our day-to-day or week-to-week, that help to center us. And as coaches, we talk about being empathetic and not sympathetic, because we don't want to jump in the well with our clients. But it's the same when we treat ourselves with that same regard, right? We experience such a wide range of things throughout our lives, and it's important for us to take the time to process it, but also shed, as you said earlier, Cindy, what's no longer serving us. What did I collect throughout the day? that is not going to serve me going forward? And how do I shed that and center myself?
And you know, some of our participants, I mean, I like what Vanessa's typed around, I am not my thoughts. And about, you know, something that, you know, Dashna said, to think about thoughts going through my mind and break them down to accept that I too can succumb to emotions and not hold them in. So we got some lovely comments and thought-provoking points from our participants. You know, I'm talking about the self-belief and, self-care. Talking about our self-care and linking that to self-beliefs, or maybe it's self-beliefs. For me, and I'm sure this happened to many of you coaches, if you did, please type into the chat box. I'd love to hear from you. When the pandemic started, it was there was this wave of offering our help to everyone, to fellow coaches, friends, colleagues, families, anybody that was lonely, anybody that needed support. As coaches, we're there. I mean, you know, it doesn't matter whether we were sleeping or not. We were there, ready to help anyone and everyone. And I found myself very quickly in a place where I sometimes thought or questioned myself, am I burning out? And I had to do this tough self-talk with myself that, you know, burnout is not a requirement in coaching. I really can't be effective, I myself, not taking care of my own needs. And it took me about 6 months to unravel a lot of what I was doing as a result of the pandemic and start putting or rethinking and re-putting new strategies in place for myself to do some self-managing. Self-accountability was a big thing, and I thought, I don't like this word, self-accountability, but here am I now, having to learn new lessons around it. So coaches, I'm sure you found yourself in positions where you had to redo things for yourself, you know, whether you suddenly found you're spending too much time on too many things and multitasking too much and putting on too many expectations for yourself. I think Deva used the word perfect, trying to be too perfect in doing too much. Of course, we don't normally think about ourselves in that way. But ultimately, it shows up like that, like we want to serve too much or help too much. So, what is the next point that we were going to raise? Getting support. How can we get support or build networks around us that will support us? So that when any obstacles, big, small, get in our way, we have created a support network. And coaches, I'm going to open this, or participants, I'm going to open this to you. How can you help the people around you to also support themselves, you know, during times like a pandemic or any other smaller crisis they are managing? What can we do? What can we do? What do you do? What's your simple step to support yourself in everyday living or everyday life? What do you do? I've heard already from our panelists talk about having some rituals in place and doing reflective practice. What else do you do?
Meditate, Cindy.
Oh, yeah.
See, whenever and someone says meditation, it seems like a huge thing. I mean, yeah, we all know meditation is good, but not for me kind of thing. Yeah, I will try it out someday, but not yet. It's supposed to be a huge thing. It is not a huge thing. It is definitely not a huge thing. These days on the internet and on the YouTube, you find lots of guided meditation. Go listen to some of them. The thing is here, like Vanessa was just talking about, to align yourself, to center yourself. I would say align yourself also, which means our mind, our body, and our soul at one place, at least for 5 minutes a day. If we can once a day align these three, every time, the moment we wake up, our body is here on the bed because I've just woken up, but my mind is already somewhere else. I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this.
Yep.
And if I'm talking
Absolutely.
about my body and mind, I don't even know where my soul is. No one talks about the soul. There's no idea. Okay, so once a day, that alignment, sit for 10 minutes, it's good enough. You can refer to any of those videos. 10 minutes a day. Bring your mind, your body, and your soul in one place. You will find the difference. You will find the difference in the way you operate the day, the way you handle the day. No one can control the external situations. It will be there. We have zero control over them. But we have control over what's happening inside. And as coaches, and as we are talking about, we are sensitized to this, a coaching mindset, the core competencies, the way we talk, the word we use, we are sensitized to such things. So we of all people should be empowered to be able to do that effectively. The importance of having all the three together, and the need and the necessity of doing it at least once a day for 10 minutes.
And sure, Vanessa?
Yeah, I can just share. I mean, this pandemic definitely has been very different, and me and my family also underwent COVID in April. I mean, it was almost like a reset. So sometimes, nature has its way of forcing certain things. So in a way, it was disconnected from everything. So 24/7, you're sitting in front of the laptop, you have work to do, you have, stuff to attend to, and suddenly you are not doing anything at all. So, I mean, when I look in hindsight, the good thing was that for 14 days, my head became totally empty. Suddenly the realization came, okay, so Anshu, what is your priority in life? All my things which I was, thinking, oh, I have to write a book someday, I have to do coaching someday, I have to do this someday. So all of those things kind of suddenly came to me that maybe there is no tomorrow. Maybe today is the day when you have to do it. So just start doing it. So it's more like a natural restart button being hit, and suddenly having to by force go into it. So I think what was the learning was that I think this needs to happen more often. The reflection has to happen more often. We need to keep looking at day to day, how do we, reset ourselves in a natural way. And Deva, what you said, meditation is a great way of doing that. And I think it's just about finding your own spiritual anchor, finding out exercise could be one. I mean, it's just which dimension works for you or what works for you. Once you find that, that's just about it. Keep doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Beautifully said around what works for you. And you said something so thought-provoking, Anshu, around the what if there was no tomorrow and today was the end? What would you be doing? Because that's one of the keys, right? When we attach meaningfulness to the things that we are doing, purpose, meaningfulness, intention, it suddenly begins, our mindset changes. Because now, there's a reason to do it. It's meaningful to us. The attachment is just not external, it's quite internal. Vanessa?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that you touched, both of you, all three of you touched upon it. It's a level of connectedness. And yes, we are social creatures. And yes, it's very important and has been important through the pandemic to stay connected with others and be there for one another. And in the only way that you know how to be there for your loved ones. But I think that, as Anshu and Deva said, it's all too often that we forget to stay connected to ourselves and what our needs and what it is that is meaningful to us, as you said, Cindy, and why it is meaningful to us. And you know, and I think that's one of the powerful things as coaches that we can do, is that we are able to connect that for our clients and our friends and our loved ones, because it might be something that's sort of floating around in there that you're not able to, or our clients are not able to articulate. And we help them to articulate that and tie it to meaning and what drives them and the why behind it. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, participants and our panel, meditation is one part of creating time out. And if you're not doing meditation, still nevertheless create a space where it's just a quiet time for you, where you can reflect, do nothing, just be with yourself, enjoy yourself, but just create a space for yourself and do it on a regular basis. And you know, sometimes when the day is just difficult and not going the direction you would like it to go, too many lives thrown at you, too many life balls that of the wrong kind thrown at you. Close the door and dance, put on some music and just dance like nobody's watching. And all those little stresses will begin to go away somewhere else. And of course, there are some other things you can also do. And, you know, panelists also, please go ahead and share. Make an effort. Sometimes when things feel difficult and you really want to do it, and you keep saying tomorrow, 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 make the effort to take some small part of that step today. So you break that cycle. And in making the effort, it'll become a pattern. And finally, sometime along the line, further down the line, you may achieve that goal or that thing you're working on. So start with making the effort. What else? Anything else that we can share on things that would help us adopt a coaching mindset?
Coaching mindset. First, I would like to say, Cindy, call a spade a spade. This is like we were discussing about, and everyone is familiar with this. I want to go to the gym at 6 in the morning, never happens, and the excuses. And just say, okay, I'm lazy and I'm finding excuses. You know, you say that first, you take that first step, only then you will be able to shoot it. That, okay, I don't want to be lazy. But we will tell ourselves a story. Say, I'm frustrated. Then you'll be able to shoot a frustrated. Don't say it's his mistake, her mistake. He said that. All that will come. Okay. Say, I'm frustrated. Say, I'm overwhelmed. Say, I'm angry. A coaching mindset will work only when we, especially if we're trying to coach ourselves, is when we are able to put a name to our emotions and then self-talk, the why those emotions, question them, probe them. And like Cindy says, appear to yourself with that unconditional positive regard. Don't judge, not even yourself. I think that works.
Yeah. And you know, it's, as participants, as we're rounding up on today's webinar, amazing how time goes so quickly. I hope that you are taking away some value from today. And if you are, you know, we'd love to know what you're walking away with. And I would love for you to invite people around you, close, not so close, wherever you can, help people with adopting or embodying a coaching mindset. Help people that need help with the coaching mindset, even if it's small pieces like listening well or helping them take the next step to what they want. I would encourage you to do that. And panelists, I'm going to hand over to you for your final thoughts. But before, I go there, some other things that we could do in adopting a coaching mindset is, if you're really feeling stuck in a spot and you don't know what to do, meaningfulness is disappearing, contribute to something else. Contribute to somebody else. Do something, either social change, community change. Do something for someone else. Doesn't need to cost money or cost a lot of time and energy. Just could be something small. It just helps to shift your mindset. Go ahead, Vanessa, what would you like to say to complete?
Well, a number of the participants touched upon this, but they mentioned vulnerability. And I think that it is a piece of what we've all been talking about today. Even Deva, as you said, to be able to admit, I am lazy, or I am lazy today, takes a bit of bravery. And I think that as coaches, that is a mindset that we can bring to ourselves and to others, is to be kind to ourselves. We mentioned this before, unconditional positive regard. It's okay to feel these things and be kind to yourself when you are being brave enough to admit these things to yourself. And to
Thank you,
others.
Vanessa. Anshu?
Yeah, I would just say, I think we've spoken about so many beautiful things, and Deva, Vanessa, you've talked about it all. I would just say resilience is one big thing that would be required. So when it comes to being open, it comes to being flexible, it's all, about being able to bounce back and to just stay on, just be present for yourself and everyone who's around you. So that's just what I would like to say. Thanks.
Yes, I understand we just have a few seconds, but I do not want to leave this meeting without pointing out to gratitude. At the end of the day, everything comes down to gratitude. We are stuck in the house. We have different equations, different emotions going on. Just remember that we are stuck in the house with food, water, and a shelter when millions are losing. We do not even feel gratitude, or we do not think twice before watching Vanessa and Anshu pick up a glass of water, drink, and talk to us. We do not think twice. People walk miles and miles for a glass of clean water. If you can bring that to your consciousness, I think each and every day the texture of it will change. Gratitude is a big thing.
Yeah. And on that lovely note, participants, it was lovely being with all of you. Please go out and share what you know, as in your coaching mindset, with others who don't, or still developing some mindset that will help them along. And, in little ways, let's add more meaningfulness to life. Thank you all for attending. It was lovely being with you, and look forward to catching up with you next week for a live coaching demo. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.